I want to take a minute or two just to introduce you to the next section, which is called the chain rule. And let's just think about what we've done so far. We now know, and this is a good formative check, we now know how to take the derivative of sine of x, and we know how to take the derivative of x squared. Okay, this should be second nature to you. And we also know how to take the derivative of combinations of f and g. So for example, if I were to add function g, or I guess subtract function g minus 5 times function f, we can take the derivative of this and find s prime of x. We can take the derivative of the product of g and f using the product rule, and we can take the derivative of f divided by g using the quotient rule. So keep in mind that we know a lot so far. Sum and constant multiple rules, we know product rules, and we know the quotient rule. But, and you think, wow, that's pretty much it, right? Not so fast. What happens if I have a combination of the two functions? Or as we might call it in the biz, a composition of the two functions. So here, let's think about what's happening in this function c of x. We start with some variable x. What are we doing? We're squaring that value, and then we're taking the sine of that value. And this is what we call a composition of functions. And you might remember from your days of Algebra 2 and pre-calculus that a composition of functions can be written as f of g of x. And the key with this is that there's some inner function, which we're going to call g, and then there's some outer function, which we're going to call f. And the question is, well, if I have this composition of functions, how do I compute c prime? How do I compute the derivative? Let's just go back to this inner and outer function for a second. In this example, sine of x squared, we know that the inner function, g of x, is going to be x squared, and the outer function, f of x, is going to be the sine of x. So this next activity is going to introduce you or get you familiar with the composition of functions f and g. And we called this the chain rule.